Okay.
Okay, good afternoon. Welcome to County Court at Law number 6 and the Bexar County Veterans Treatment Court via remote. It is approximately 2:04 p.m. on November the 12th, 2020. And what we have set today is 4 pleas and 1 sentencing. And let's see. I've got call number 636-502, State of Texas versus Mark Clark with Mr. Vasquez as the attorney. Everybody present on that one? Paul, are you with us? Your microphone is turned off, Paul. There you go.
I got it.
Y'all
There
ready?
we go. We're ready.
All right, and I've got cause 610-326 and 628-026, State of Texas versus Orlando Martinez, as represented by Mr. Raymond Martinez. And both of those folks with us today?
Yes, Your Honor. Defendant is present with counsel. We're ready to plea.
All right, thank you. And the last one I have available and ready that I'm aware of is Mr. Francisco Trejo Jr., cause number 629-647, represented by Ivan Barrera. This is a Bexar County Veterans Treatment Court Track 1 pretrial diversion plea and probation agreement. Is that correct, Mr. Barrera?
Yes, Judge. I'm here and my client's here as well.
Very well. And let's see. Mr. Froelich, we had cases set for you with Mr. Gaines, but apparently we're unable to get up with Mr. Gaines, or what's the status of those cases?
Your Honor, I'm not sure if Mr. Gaines is on this call or not.
Is Mr. Gaines present? Have you had any conversation with him in the last week or so?
I've had a couple of conversations with him, Judge. He hasn't been very good about responding at all to me.
Does he know he was supposed to be present today at this hearing?
Yes.
Okay. We'll talk about with the DA after all the other are over. We can get back with you if you need to be released and get back with us a little bit later. And if Mr. Gaines shows up, we'll call you, or you can hang out.
Judge, I think he's here.
Your Honor, there is someone here. It is LG Style 6. I don't know whether that is Mr.
That's
Gaines or not.
That is Mr. Gaines.
That looks like Mr. Gaines.
Yeah.
Well,
Mr. Gaines, can you hear us, sir? Mr. Gaines, can you hear us? Mr. Gaines, can you hear us, sir? I can't tell that he's got his microphone turned off, but we certainly can't hear him. Do you have a cell number, Mr. Froelich, that you might call him?
I do, Your Honor. I'll call him and tell him to.
And Judge, maybe just to save some time, I'm not even sure. We thought we had an agreement on this case, and then something came up to where we don't have an agreement on this case, and we're not really sure where we are at this point. Like I said, we haven't been able to get a hold of Mr. Gaines, not me, but Mr. Froelich is not, and that's kind of hindered whether or not where we are today.
Well, hopefully here in the next few minutes, Mr. Froelich will get the cards on the table and we can see where we stand with Mr. Gaines.
Understood.
Okay, let's go forward on our other cases and we'll come back to Mr. Gaines at the end. In order, we're going to take these up is State of Texas versus Mark Clark, cause 636-502, represented by Paul Vasquez, cause 610-326, State of Texas Martinez, represented by Raymond Martinez, and cause 628-026, State of Texas versus Orlando Martinez, represented by Raymond Martinez. And last, I have cause 629-647, State of Texas versus Francisco Trejo Jr., which once again is a Bexar County Veterans Treatment Court Track 1 pretrial diversion plea and probation agreement as represented by Mr. Ivan Barrera. Gentlemen, on all these cases, I'm initially holding in front of you 2 documents, one entitled Defendant's Consent to Plea by Video Conference, and another document entitled Trial Court Certification of Defendant's Right of Appeal. Mr. Clark, did you sign both these documents, sir?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Vasquez, did you sign both these documents?
I did.
Thanks, sir. And same two documents being referenced for Mr. Martinez on both cases, 610326 and 628026. Mr. Martinez, did you sign the two different documents on both of these cases that we're talking about?
Yes, sir, I did, Your Honor.
Thank you. And Ray, did you sign both of these also?
Yes, Your Honor.
Oh, I'm sorry. I apologize. And Mr. Trejo, did you sign both of these documents, sir?
Yes, sir.
And Mr. Barrera, did you sign both these documents, sir?
Yes, Judge.
Thank you. The next document, or gentlemen, at this time, I'm taking up a document entitled Defendant's Waiver of Constitutional Rights and Court's Admonitions that purports to have your signatures on the back, effectively waiving certain constitutional rights you must waive in order to enter a plea before this court. In fact, Mr. Clark, is this your signature on this document, sir?
Yes, sir.
And Mr. Martinez, is this your signature on this document in clause 610326?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Martinez, is this your signature on this document in clause 628026?
Yes, sir.
And Mr. Trejo, is this your signature on this document in 629647?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. By signing these documents, are each of you telling me that you've had enough time to either read these documents or have them read to you in their entirety? If you had any questions about what was on these documents, those questions were answered to your satisfaction by your attorneys. So that in signing these documents, you're telling me that you agree with and understand everything on this document. Is that correct, Mr. Clark?
Yes, sir.
Is that correct, Mr. Martinez, on both cases?
Yes, Your Honor.
Is that correct, Mr. Everybody who's not talking at this point in time, i.e. only the defendants and I should have our microphones on. Everybody else turn theirs off until we're ready for you. Okay, as attorney for Mr. Clark, have you had enough time to go over this case with him? And in your opinion, is he mentally competent?
I have, and he is.
Second question for attorney for Mr. Orlando Martinez.
He is, Your Honor.
Okay, and that's on both cases, correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
For Mr. Trejo.
We have, and he is, Judge.
Okay. Mr. Clark, are you a United States citizen, sir?
Yes, sir.
Same question for Mr. Martinez.
Yes, Your Honor.
Same question for Mr. Trejo.
Yes, sir.
And attorney for Mr. Clark, has the state fully complied with discovery for you on this case?
They have.
Same question for attorney for Mr. Martinez on both cases.
Yes.
Same question for attorney for Mr. Trejo.
They have.
Mr. Clark, in clause 636502, the charge of driving while intoxicated first, filed as originally a DWI first or state, or are you modifying this?
Sir, it broke up. I hear you, sir.
Sure. State, is this originally charged as DWI first?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Mr. Clark, to the charge of driving while intoxicated first offense, how do you plead, sir?
Guilty, sir.
You're in agreement for Mr. Clark.
Yes, Judge. It's going to be 6 months Bexar County Jail, probated for 12 months, a $300 fine, court costs, 36 hours of community service, DWI education, DIP, CAT-SNP, and Smart Start Mobile for half of the term.
Is that correct, defense?
That is correct, Judge.
Plead guilty to the offense of driving while intoxicated. I find you guilty. I assess 6 months in the Bexar County Jail, probated for 1 year, a $300 fine plus court costs, 36 hours community service, DWI education course, DWI victim impact panel, Community Alliance for Traffic Safety New Intervention Program, and Smart Start mobile device for half the term of probation or 6 months. Anything further from the state of the defense on Mr. Clark?
Judge, that was a 0.15 or higher. So do you want me to go ahead and move?
Go ahead and do that.
State moves to waive the 0.15 enhancement and proceed as a DWI first.
Any objection from the defense?
No objection. And Judge, there are two quick matters. The first is as a pretrial condition, he was ordered scram. So we're going to need to get an order to remove the scram and have him placed on the portable Smart Start. The other is he is a resident of Garland, Texas. So we need to have him transferred over to Garland as well. And we need to recall the warrant.
transfer this probation to Garland, Texas. We're going to waive the scram as soon as he gets the Smart Start mobile device active, so there'll be an overlap. And we're recalling all warrants and any allied pretrial bond restrictions. Will that cover it, defense?
That covers everything.
Thank you, Mr. Vasquez. 610326 to the charge of, now, was this case originally a DWI first also state?
This is going to be proceeding as a DWI 0.15 or higher, both of them, Judge. We're talking about Orlando Martinez?
Correct. 610326 and 629, excuse me, I'm sorry, and 628026. Is the second one also greater than 1.5?
Yes, Judge, and these cases are going to be running concurrent.
All right, so the state moves on both cases to waive the enhancement and make it DWI first. Is that correct?
We didn't plan on that, Judge.
Oh, okay, so he's pleading the DWI greater than 1.5 on both cases?
Yes, Judge.
Is that correct, defense?
Yes, Your Honor, they're both Class A's.
All right, Pat, we need to make sure the paperwork reflects that on the waiver of constitutional rights and court
Yes, Your Honor.
documents. They're both set up for DWI first, and we need to add greater than 1.5 on both.
Okay.
For the defense?
I'm sorry, Your Honor?
Is that okay with you that we modify your waiver of constitutional rights and court's admonitions document to reflect the correct charge, DWI greater than 1.15?
Yes, Your Honor.
I'll let them know, Your Honor.
Great. Okay, so in clause 628026 to the charge of driving while intoxicated with a blood or breath alcohol content greater than 0.15. How do you plead, Mr. Martinez?
Guilty, I'm sorry.
I think the paperwork's set up for no contest.
Or, I'm sorry, no contest?
Is that correct, defense? We're pleading no contest to both these cases?
Yes, Your Honor.
My fault.
No problem. Okay, is there an agreement for Mr. Martinez in 628026?
Yes, Judge. It's going to be 6 months Bexar County Jail, probated for 12 months, a $300 fine, court costs, 36 hours community service, DWI education, DIP, CAT-SNP, Smart Start mobile for half of the term, and restitution, if any, to, and I'm going to give this to you, it's going to be Quebec, uniform, India, November, Oscar, November, Echo, Sierra. Last name, Golf, Echo, Romeo, Alpha, Romeo, Delta, Oscar.
Quinones Gerardo, does that sound right?
That's exactly right. I just did not know if you could spell that out with me just pronouncing it.
That's all.
Your
And
Honor, defense would request that before any restitution is actually decided, that client reserves the right to have a restitution hearing.
absolutely. Did Mr. Martinez have insurance at the time of this accident, I'm guessing?
I believe he did, Judge. I just put that just in case. I have not been able to get a hold of the victim. It's just been kind of backed up and everything like that. So I just put that down so that probation can send off the letter to the address. And if he responds, he responds. And if he doesn't, he doesn't.
And defense, we're assessing restitution, if any, to this victim. And if we get to a point where there's a contest with regard to how much is involved in restitution, then of course we can have a hearing. That's what you're requesting, correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
In this case, I assume he's going to run concurrent with 610326.
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes, Judge.
And let's see, we don't have Mr. Martinez on scram or anything.
Yes, Your
I
Honor.
think
He is on scram. He's on scram and the handheld. We request that the scram be ordered removed.
Once again, we're going to order Smart Start mobile device, and we'll have we'll waive the scram immediately as he becomes active on the Smart Start mobile device.
Technically he's already active. So is it just that probation needs to look at the paperwork, or?
Is he active on Smart Start mobile or scram right now?
He's on both.
He's
been
on both, Judge.
We're going to waive the scram, and we're good. Okay.
Thank you.
Anything further from the state or the defense on Mr. Martinez in 628026?
No,
Not
Judge.
at this time, Your Honor.
610326. Mr. Martinez, to the charge of driving while intoxicated with a blood or breath alcohol content of 0.15 or higher. How do you plead, sir?
No contest.
And they're basically the same agreement state, or where are we going with it?
It is, Judge. They're going to be running concurrent.
Okay. So state, even though he's got beating to a class A, we're going to assess class B punishment underlying. Is that correct?
Yes, Judge.
Good job, defense. And no restitution on this one, hopefully.
No, Judge.
And is he also on scramble on this one, defense?
I believe so, Your Honor.
Which cause number are you on right now, Judge?
We are on the second one, which is 610326. No, I'm sorry. Second one is 628026.
Okay, so the restitution should be on 628026.
There's no restitution on 610326.
That's correct, Judge.
Okay, we're good. All right, Mr. Martinez, in clause 628026, court accepts your plea of no contest. I find you guilty. I said 6 months in the Bear County Jail, probated for 1 year, a $300 fine plus court costs, 36 hours community service, DWI Education Corp, DWI Victim Impact Panel, Community Alliance for Traffic Safety New Intervention Program, Smart Start Mobile for 1/2 the term or 6 months. Restitution, if any, to Panonis Gerardo. This case will run concurrent with 610326. Continuing Smart Start Mobile at 4 blows a day and waiving the scram device and any other bad things I may have done to Martinez on pretrial. And will that take care of it, defense? Did I miss something?
No, Your Honor.
Anything further on this one, state?
No, Judge.
Let Mr. Martinez. Thank you, counsel.
May we
Okay,
be excused?
you bet.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Do they need to know how to go to probation, Pat?
I think it's, Your Honor, I believe it's still the same where they have to go tomorrow.
Okay. Well, let me make sure I put down the reports tomorrow, not today, so we don't get in trouble.
Yeah, they have to go
Judge?
tomorrow.
Judge or Pat, how would my client do it if he's in Garland?
Well, he's got to report here first, and then they set him up.
He's got it, yeah. He has to do his condition first.
He's gonna have to drive into town?
Well,
Unless there's another way they're doing it, that's how
I think they are doing some
Paul,
via Zoom.
contact Susan. Paul, contact Susan.
Okay,
He's going to report to CSCD tomorrow at 0900 at on 11/13/20 on both these. Okay, Mr. Trejo. This is a Bear County Veteran Treatment Court Track 1 pretrial diversion case. And I have a DWI first as the underlying offense state. Is that the correct underlying offense on this?
No, Judge. This is also 0.15 or higher.
Okay. At the defendant's waiver of constitutional rights and court's admonitions need to be corrected to reflect the actual underlying offenses, DWI greater than 0.15. Defense, do you agree?
Yes, Judge.
Mr. Trejo, to the charge of driving while intoxicated with a blood or breath alcohol content 0.15 or higher, how do you plead, sir?
Guilty, Your Honor.
If guilty, I hold it in abeyance, place you on 1 year, Bear County Veterans Treatment Court. 1 pretrial diversion. $1,000 all-inclusive VTC fee, 48 hours of community service, probating all that based on your military service. DWI education, DWI victim impact panel, outpatient drug alcohol evaluation and follow-on treatment with the Veterans Administration. Are we eligible to go to the VA on you, sir?
Yes, sir.
And successful completion of ETC. Issue judge's bond. Defendant to be supervised by BTC staff and CSCD. Let's see, I have another document for you, Mr. Trejo. We'll go over it this time. First off, State, is that your understanding of the agreement for the probation requirements?
Yes, Judge.
It is, Your Honor.
That's correct. All right. Now, Mr. Trejo, I've got a document entitled Track 1, Pretrial Intervention, which is a contract by and between you and the Bear County Criminal District Attorney's Office. Said contract setting out all of the requirements and prerequisites of your successful completion of the VTC. Is this your signature on this document, sir?
Yes, sir.
And defense counsel, would it be, actually, I don't see a signature for defense counsel on my copy. Where did you sign this on the actual original?
Yes, Judge.
Okay, well, Pat just confirmed that that's been signed, or Ron confirmed that's been signed on the original that we have. And Mr. Maru, that's your signature as Assistant Criminal District Attorney.
Yes, Judge.
Okay. What did I miss, State?
Nothing that I can see, Judge.
What did I miss, defense?
Nothing, Judge. That's it.
Judge,
Yeah, Ron, go ahead.
can we give Mr. Trejo proactive credit for the DWI education and the victim impact panel? I have both certificates with me.
Great, good job. Let's see. Defendant to receive proactive credit for DWI education and the victim impact panel. What did you do in the military, Mr. Trejo?
Was a field radio operator, sir.
For the Army or for who?
Marine Corps.
Ah, good for you. Did you go to the war, I'm guessing?
A couple times, Your Honor.
Did you go to Iraq and Afghanistan?
Just Iraq twice.
Well, thanks for your service, sir. All right, anything further on Mr. Trejo?
No, Judge.
Good luck, Mr. Trejo. Thanks for your service, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, Judge.
And we got back on Mr. Froelich. What did you find out? You turn your microphone on.
We'll see you, Ivan.
We are ready to go, Judge.
Better, Nick.
I don't have any paperwork on your guy that I'm aware of. Gaines, Mr. Gaines?
That's correct, Your Honor.
Pat, do we have any paperwork on Mr. Gaines?
I'm here. A little bit late.
Huh? I didn't hear you. I'm here. Did you see me?
Trying to get the coordinator to talk back to me. Pat?
No, Your Honor.
Do we have any
We have no paperwork. No paperwork.
I sent it in already.
Yes, we can see you, Mr. Gaines.
Froelich, have y'all actually filled out paperwork at this point?
Yes, sir. I filled it out. I signed it and sent it back.
Sent it back to whom?
I'll verify it, Your Honor, if you just give me a minute.
The email that they sent me, I sent it back.
Good. We just need to find it.
Okay. Y'all can see me and hear me though, right?
Yes.
At this time, Your Honor, I do not see that it has been signed. It says that it's been viewed, but I do not have anything indicating that it has been signed.
Mr. Gaines, there should be 3 different ones that we should go through. Can you check your email to make sure that all 3 have been signed and done?
Yeah, I did it.
We believe you're good.
One thing I can do is send you like a photocopy of the emails that I sent.
Okay. Mr. Gaines, here's what we need to do at this point. We need to find your paperwork, and we can't do that today. So, Mr. Froelich, just stay in contact with Ms. Benavides and coordinate with her and make sure she finds the paperwork, because I haven't signed it yet, and I don't know if the DA has signed it yet. And we can reset this. Could be tomorrow, could be next week, whenever it's convenient for everybody. But I got to get the paperwork up first. We can't do the paperwork at the same time we're trying to do the plea.
Sure. Your Honor, may I ask, Mr. Gaines has a warrant. Can we set aside the warrant and reinstate the bond for the time being while we get this worked out?
We'll have to talk about that. I don't know exactly what his status is.
Can I say something, Your Honor? I'm not trying to interrupt you. I thought you was finished speaking. But, okay, I got that on GPS, and then my bonds was like, it went from 2,500 to 25,000. Okay, I made the bond, and they let me out on GPS. Then they told me they gave me the wrong GPS. I need to go get the other GPS. Then they came back and told me, don't go get that, go get the breathalyzer. But I didn't have no more money to pay for it. I'm on disability. I only have so much money.
I understand. Here's what's going on. Everything's going to stay status quo right now until I get a chance to review that, which will be this afternoon, and figure out what's going on. I don't have a file in front of me because of this remote business, so I don't know exactly why bonds were raised on you or what the circumstances are, but I'll find out as soon as possible and get back to Mr. Froelich, and we'll figure all that out. And if I can do something to relieve you on these bonds and stuff without getting anybody in trouble, we'll do that. So, Mr. Froelich, I'll stay in contact with you on that. That'll be no later than tomorrow morning and no earlier than this afternoon sometime. Pat, if you would,
I appreciate you, Your Honor. And like I say, man, I'm not out here doing nothing wrong, man. I'm not running from y'all.
No, you're good, Mr. Gaines. We're proud of you. Just stay cool. It's all going to work out. We just have to get.
I'm a veteran. I've been to war. I served this country.
Thank you, sir.
I'm just asking for a shake. I'm not denying what happened, but there was circumstances behind everything.
I understand, sir. Stay cool. Get with your attorney. Pat, can we let them go now, or do you need to talk to them for any other reason?
No, I'll talk to Mr. Froelich after we're finished, and I'll send you whatever information you need, Your Honor, to review the situation.
All good.
Thank you.
So, y'all are Mr. Gaines and Mr. Froelich, thanks, and we're going to see you again soon, okay?
They can go.
So, as of right now, I still have the warrants?
I have a warrant right now.
Okay. Okay.
I'll talk to your attorney this afternoon, and we'll see what's going on with that. Bear with me. 2,000 y'all, and I can't keep up with each case, so I don't know exactly what happened in your case, but I'll find out. Okie doke.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. All right. Thank you, Andrew. We'll see you all soon. All right. I have Mr. Jackson Doe, and today is a sentencing hearing off of a Bexar County Criminal District Attorney's Office revocation of Track 1 pretrial diversion in the Veterans Treatment Court for the charge of driving while intoxicated with a breath or blood alcohol content of 0.15 or higher. Is that correct, Mr. Vasquez?
That is correct, Judge.
And is that correct, Mr. Maru?
Yes, Judge.
And do we have, we do have Ms. Serna, who is his probation officer in the Veterans Treatment Court. For the record, this is class 612050, State of Texas versus Jackson Doe, as represented by Attorney Paul Vasquez. Mr. Vasquez, we do not have a consent form for this hearing, which we will need. Do I have your permission to proceed in a Zoom hearing on the sentencing of Mr. Doe at this time?
Yes, Judge, and I filled one out probably around 1:30 when it was sent to me, so it's been done.
Bermuda Triangle of County Court 6. So, Mr. Doe, do you agree it's okay to go through this hearing today to have your sentencing?
Yes, Judge.
Thanks. All right, Pat, if you would, at the appropriate time, track down wherever that document is and put it in.
I'll make sure that it's done, Your Honor.
And I assume that document is signed by you, Mr. Vasquez?
It is.
Document is signed by Mr. Doe.
Oh, Jackson, did you get it?
I got it, but it got canceled.
I
Mr.
did get that, but it
Vasquez,
was canceled.
Mr.
Yes.
Vasquez, what I sent you, I think is the wrong one. After we're finished, I will send the correct one to both of you, okay?
Okay.
I want to make sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
For the record, my record reflects that Mr. Doe was a member, an active duty member of the United States Air Force, and he provided an offer by the Assistant Criminal District Attorney representing the Veterans Treatment Court on December 9, 2019. Mr. Doe accepted that agreement and pled into the Veterans Treatment Court by entering a plea of guilty to the charge of driving while intoxicated with a blood or alcohol content greater than 0.15. At that time, the court accepted his plea of guilty and held it in abeyance and placed him on 1 year Bexar County Veterans Treatment Court Track 1 pretrial diversion until my documents reflect that on June 16, 2020, a document was filed by Mr. Jeffrey Wright, who is an assistant criminal district attorney representing the Bexar County Veterans Treatment Court from the DA's office. And the document's entitled State's Notice of Termination of Pretrial Intervention. And it was signed by me granting that motion on June 17, 2020, the next day. For purposes of the record, I'm going to ask that both these documents, I'm taking judicial notice of the whole file, even though I don't have it in front of me, which contain both of these documents. So there's been a long history of bad things and good things with regard to Mr. Doe, and I'm going to ask Ms. Fairnet this time to testify about what exactly her understanding is of how he did on probation with us. I'm going to swear you in at this time. Ms. Fairnet, do you swear the testimony you're about to give to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, sir.
All right. Ms. Fairnet, what's the current status of Mr. Doe? And I guess you just take us by the hand because this is a very long process, and there have been all kinds of incidents along the way. So go ahead.
So to start out, Mr. Doe, actually, he came in on the 9th. We did have orientation on December 13th of 2019. He did enroll in outpatient treatment at Cross Point from November, and I believe he's still current with them. However, he is being seen on the active duty side as well. His UA history, he's had plenty of UAs. I don't have the exact number to date. However, he has had 2 diluted UAs. He's got 5 missed calls to the UA line, 1 positive for cocaine on March 19th, 2019. He was on the Smart Start mobile device, did have BRAC violations in 2 different instances, one being April 18th of 2020, with the highest BRAC violation was 0.044. Then another on May 2nd, and highest BRAC violation was 0.027. At that time, Mr. Doe did have someone else blowing into the mobile device for him. They covered the camera, someone else blew into it for him in order to get him a pass. And Mr. Doe was honest about that. He did admit that someone else blew into the machine for him. Since then, he has been on Scram since, I don't even have the date in front of me. I believe it was June. No, I apologize. Back in May. So he installed May 13th. Since then, he has had 8 Scram violations, different dates. Do you need me to go ahead and give you what dates he's had violations, Judge?
Yeah, if you would, please.
Okay. We have May 23rd, and Scram, let's see, he had violations 2 days, with the highest being on 5/24 at 3:32 a.m. of a 0.046. The next is 6/1/2020, alcohol detected at 12:29 a.m. All the way through 9:11 a.m. Mr. Doe did deny use of alcohol. He did UA on 6/2, and that UA did return clean. On 6/26/2020, again, we had another alcohol detect on Scram. July 4th, 2020, all the way through July 5th, 2020, another alcohol detected incident. August 29th, 2020 at 12:54 a.m., going through August 30th, 2020 at 12:05 p.m. Alcohol was detected, and the highest reading was at 4:27 a.m. of 0.065. Again, he does deny any alcohol consumption. October 4th, 2020, alcohol detected. He also denies consuming alcohol at that time. UA was required for confirmation, which came back negative. October 24th, 2020 at 9:31 p.m. He did test positive through the Scram device. Alcohol detected, highest being 0.060 at 5:40 a.m. Again, denying use. The last one that we just had was November 1st, 2020 at 2:04 a.m. and highest reading was at 4:39 of a 0.159.
Okay. My understanding is that Mr. Doe recently completed an inpatient treatment program at Laurel Ridge,
Yes.
which was sponsored by the United States Air Force. Is that correct?
He graduated from that this morning, Judge.
How many days was he in inpatient?
Jackson, how many days were you in there?
Your Honor, so I graduated inpatient last month, and I literally just graduated outpatient today.
Okay. Was it inpatient? Did you have to sleep every night at the hospital, or was it outpatient and you went home and came back to the hospital?
So last month for inpatient, I was sleeping there. Yes, Judge.
It was at Laurel Ridge, Judge.
I'm sorry?
Laurel Ridge, Judge.
Yeah.
He discharged on the 29th of September.
Okay. I'm trying to determine how many days he spent actually inpatient, meaning he was sleeping in the same location he was getting his treatment and therapy. 30 days, 60 days, how long?
27 days, because he entered on September 2nd.
And
And was discharged on the 29th.
since he came out of Laurel Ridge in the inpatient phase for plus or minus 27 days, he's been in intensive outpatient with Laurel Ridge also. Is that correct?
That is correct, Judge.
And it's like once a week, twice a week. How often does he show up over there now?
Judge, it was outpatient at BAMC at Fort Sam, and it's every weekday.
Okay, it's not at Laurel Ridge. Is it Fort Sam Houston?
Yes, sir.
And is this program called something, the Adaptee or something?
What was that, Judge?
I mean, do they have a name for this program he's in now?
Yes, sir. It's called AMIOP, Addiction Medicine Intensive Outpatient Program.
Okay, and you've been separated from the U.S. Air Force now, so you were out of the Air Force, or is that still going on?
No, Judge. I believe I have about a week or two left.
Okay, so technically you're still active duty U.S. Air Force right now?
Yes, Judge.
Okay. And did you go through a discharge board at some point?
Yes, Judge.
Okay, and did they made a decision to discharge you? So at some future point, you're going to get discharged?
Yes, Judge.
Okay. Do you have a plan in mind for what you're going to do as far as work and that whatnot at that point in time?
It's a work in progress, but I have a lot on that I'm planning to do. Yes, Judge.
Okay, so what do you plan to do as far as career path or working or going to school or any of that?
Yes, Judge. So, although, I'm getting administrative discharge, which I won't be validating my GI Bill initially, but I'm not going to let that stop me from pursuing my education. So I will do whatever it takes. I'm starting school on the 1st of next month. And for now, I'm going to get a part-time job. I'm going to work on my VA claims. And I do have a kid on the way, so I have to save up money and help out with that too.
Okay. Mr. Vasquez, what are you requesting the court to do with Mr. Doe? We've had some highs and lows all along through here.
Well, Judge, and I think more recently there are a lot more highs, and as the dates on these testing were given, obviously those tests, the more recent ones were done and conducted while Jackson was in inpatient as well as outpatient. What I sent to the court were documents from Laurel Ridge showing that in fact Jackson was negative, even though the scram device was showing that he was positive. So just, and Judge, you know just as well as I do that this device is not certain. It's not foolproof.
Let me stop you there. And from what Ms. Cerna just told us, he tested positive on the scram device on November 1, 2020. And I think she said about 4 o'clock in the morning or something. Valerie, is that correct?
Yes, Judge, 4:39.
0.159 was the readout that they got?
Yes, Judge.
Okay. Now, Paul, you said that you had him tested, or there's some reason that you know that the scram device was not accurate that night?
Yes, and I sent that to you via email from Laurel Ridge directly with those results that showed that he was negative. So you should have received those last week when I forwarded them to the court.
Okay, well, go ahead and refresh my memory. I apologize. I'm a little overwhelmed here with 100,000 people.
That's all right. That's all right. So when Jackson found out that he was testing positive, he asked Laurel Ridge to provide his records, which they did. They emailed them to Jackson, and I went ahead and forwarded that information and those records to the court to show, in fact, that Jackson was not positive. He was clean. And just as probation told you, there were 2 other instances prior to Jackson even going into Laurel Ridge, like on June the 2nd, when she stated that he came back positive, and then they had him go take a test and it came back clean. And so this is common sense to know that these devices are not foolproof. And luckily Jackson does have the records from Laurel Ridge to support his assertion that he's telling the court and he wasn't drinking. And there's now a medical record to show that he wasn't in fact drinking. And then you have 2 instances from probation telling you that, yes, he tested positive. We send him the next day to get tested and he comes back clean. And so I want the court to just be aware that there appears to be many positive tests, but in reality, there's not. And so my argument to the court is, yes, Jackson has not been a model person on VTC in the very beginning, but he has taken it upon himself to better himself and deal with the ramifications that the fallout from all of this, being discharged from the military, which is not something that he wanted at all, but this is something that he is having to deal with. And what I want the court to do is take all of that into consideration, take into consideration the fact that he did complete inpatient treatment. He is still going, or just completed, the outpatient treatment program. That was an intensive 2 months to today that he's been doing that, Judge. So he's bettering himself. And I like the court to keep him in the VTC, to just allow him to finish out and continue to prove to the court that he is a different person. And the tests that are coming obviously are a lot better now than they were back in March. And that's what we're talking about is what happened in March or April and May versus what's going on in June, July, August, September, October to today. I mean, the number of months that he's done well far surpasses the number that he's done bad.
Okay.
Judge, can I say something, Judge?
Go ahead, Mr. Murray.
I'm just curious. You said, and Val, you can maybe help me with this. He tested positive November 2nd, and it was a 0.159.
On scram, yes.
And then he went to Laurel Ridge after that scram tested positive on November 2nd.
So he's been out of Laurel Ridge since September.
September 27th. So that's what I was asking. This most recent positive we had, November 2nd. Was that one cleared, like you're saying, Paul, with the medical records from somewhere?
Jackson, was that one of the dates that was in there?
That was for the AMIOP at Fort Sam, and the test they could detect alcohol for 2 weeks.
Are we talking about the ones that were sent to Pat? Are those the ones that? The UA results are from the ones that Pat sent out.
Oh, I don't know about the UA. I'm just trying to figure out. So we had this most recent test where he tested positive, or
Blood.
he tested positive was November 2nd, right? With the 0.157.
Your Honor,
First, are we talking about the November 1st test at
The last,
Your Honor.
sorry, go ahead.
Your Honor,
yes.
on November 5th, I sent you or forwarded the email with all the lab reports from Mr. Dew. I sent him November 5th.
All right, and I'm sure you did that. Here's what I'm trying to find the answer to. First off, the specific positive off of the Scram device that we're talking about is November 1st, not November 2nd. Is that correct, Ms. Serna?
Yes, it starts reading on the 1st. Yes, and it is. I apologize. Yes.
It is on the 2nd of November. The
Yeah,
one
it's the first. I apologize.
is 11/1/20 at 04:39 a.m. That's 4:39 in the morning, very early in the morning.
Yes, Judge.
And the readout was 0.159.
Yes.
And Paul, you're telling me that the Scram technicians or the people at the Scram company you spoke to told you that this was a false positive. Is that correct?
No, I'm telling you it's a false positive based on the lab report submitted by BAMC and by Lowell Ridge to show that he was negative.
So that's what I'm trying to get across is he tested positive November 2nd. I just need a clear answer. Did after November 1st, when he tested positive on November 1st, he went and took another test to clear him of that reading?
Jackson, you can answer that.
Yes, when I found out about that, I did a UA that Valerie told me to do, and right after that, I did a blood work with Fort Sam.
After and the results, and Judge, those are the results that I forwarded to you that show that he was clean and he's negative.
Did you send those? Did you send those to me, Paul?
No, I just sent them to Pat. Was he on the email as well? Or was it just you?
No, I can send it to him now if you want.
That's something I'd like to look at.
Please, Mr. Doe. After you had a positive on the Scram device at 04:39 a.m. on November 1st, the next day, or I guess it would be the same day, November 1st, you went to Fort Sam Houston and took a urinalysis test. Is that correct?
I took one when I found out from Valerie that I had a positive on my Scram. So whenever called me to notify me, I did that the following day. Yes.
So he tested positive off of Scram on 11/1. Okay, and then he did submit a urinalysis test on 11/2. And this was at 7:28 a.m. And that one was negative.
Okay.
So that means that thing to me, as far as alcohol goes, as we're all well aware, the body metabolizes 1 ounce of alcohol per hour. This was 24 or more hours later that he took a UA. So how Mr. Vasquez?
That's why he's telling you he did blood work that detects it the blood work that they had done detects it for more than just the day prior.
And just to throw out there, this email that I just got forwarded to me from Pat with these lab results, the most recent date on there is October 29th lab result.
Right.
That's the most.
Jackson, do you have the November 2nd one, the lab report?
Did you receive my email with all my lab results?
I have starting October 8th to October 29th. That's what I got.
And then there was one more email that I sent you. It was a specific a separate email that only had one lab result in it, and that was the earliest one I had. So I mean, I could resend it to you.
Thank you, sir. Everybody stop talking for a minute. Mr. Vasquez, here's my understanding of what you're telling me. We have a positive off the Scram device for 04:39 a.m. on November the 1st. Mr. Doe went and took both a urinalysis test and a blood test on November the 2nd, more than 24 hours later. Do you agree?
Oh, I don't know what the time. I can't agree if it's 24 hours. I know it's the next day.
Well, the next day would be 24 hours later. It'd be 4 o'clock in the morning. The next day, it'd be 24 hours. So it's more than 24 hours.
Jackson, was it 24 hours?
So I took the UA the next day, and then I took the blood work the following day. I believe it was a Wednesday.
Okay, stop. Hang on just a second. So did you take the blood test the day after the urinalysis test or the same day as the urinalysis test?
I believe it was 2 days after.
All right, Paul, this isn't helping the DA or me understand whether or not Mr. Doe is actually drinking alcohol. And Mr. Doe, let me just be as candid as I can be. You got a drinking problem. You got a drug problem. And we all know that, and that's why we're here today. And now, I'm the first one to say you're taking some positive steps, but you're taking 3 steps forward and 2 steps back. But if you're not honest with us, I mean, we know you had a problem when you walked in the door. You still have the problem. You don't just go to classes and this goes away. You got to change the way you think about alcohol and drugs, or nothing changes in your life. So that's up to you. So from what your defense counsel is telling me and what you're telling me, I have no reason to disbelieve the fact that you were drinking at 4:39 a.m. on November the 1st. So are you telling me you were not drinking and this is a false positive test? Or are you telling me you were drinking, you fell off the wagon, and now you fixed it? What are you telling me?
I was not drinking, Judge.
Okay, I'm having a real hard time believing that. So let's go from there. State, have you got a recommendation on sentencing on Mr. Doe?
Judge, it's going to be 6 months Bexar County Jail, probated for 14 months, $400 fine, court costs, 48 hours community service, probated if you see fit due to his military service, DWI education, DIP, CAT, SNP, and Smart Start Mobile for half the term, and a drug offender education program, credit for any classes or any monies or any time he's already put forward.
Valerie, before I get into this, and I'm going to talk to Mr. Vasquez again once more before I come up with a plan. I assume Mr. Doe paid money through the VTC. Do we have any idea how much money he paid us already?
He's paid in full, Judge, and he's completed his DWI education and victim impact panel class.
So he hasn't done CATs yet?
No.
Okay.
That wasn't on his contract.
Yeah.
And he's already done the victim impact panel, did you say, Val?
DWI education and victim impact.
And the education. And he did he do outpatient? Well, he was active duty, so he would have his cross point. Is that where he was going to outpatient?
Yes, Judge.
And he's currently, how much longer does this current drug course you're in go, Mr. Doe? Do you know when that's going to be finished?
I just graduated today, Judge.
Graduate today. So tomorrow you have no plan for going back for any more drug alcohol treatment. Is that correct?
I'm going with ADAPT at the Whipper Hall at Lackland Air Force Base.
Okay. Is your discharge going to enable you to use Veterans Administration services? Do we know? Paul,
Yes, Judge.
Okay, so you're going to be eligible for VA?
Yes, Judge.
Valerie, I'd like to hear your recommendation on what we need to do with Mr. Doe. I'm running out of options here. All the textbook solutions says long-term inpatient is one of where this is headed. But I'm inclined to put him on regular probation, put him in one more drug course, which is intensive outpatient, where we can watch him when he's on our watch, not the Air Force's watch. And if he does well, great. And if he doesn't do well, then we're talking about long-term inpatient. So the ball would be completely in his court, but I want to be candid up front that if he screws up and falls off the wagon and comes up with a positive on the scram device or something again that we can't explain, the probability is he's going to be going to inpatient.
I'm in complete agreement with that, Judge.
Say again, go ahead, Val.
I'm in complete agreement with that, Judge.
Okay. Stage, that sound like a fair deal to you for the defendant?
Judge, I think that's something we had in mind, is putting him on regular probation anyways, and then hoping he just stays clean.
Valerie, what continuing intensive outpatient course do we have? CATS? I mean, it's not CATS NIP. It would be Community Alliance for Traffic Safety outpatient. Is that correct?
CATS is more of a class, Judge. It's not necessarily outpatient treatment. If he's eligible for VA services, I would like to see him try to do treatment with the VA.
Not going to be eligible for VA for probably months. It takes him forever to get him cleared.
Right.
And I'm not sure his discharge is going to allow him to be eligible for VA anyway. I'm not sure how.
We could also see if we could get him to do it at the probation building.
All right. What does the CSCD offer as far as aftercare, intensive outpatient aftercare kind of course? They have something like that?
He can do the actual classes, the counseling. It's outpatient or intensive outpatient treatment. And due to the circumstances, I would recommend intensive.
So it would be called CSCD intensive outpatient. That's what you would call it?
Yes, Judge.
Mr. Doe, the court accepts your plea of guilty rendered on December 9, 2019. I hereby find you guilty of the offense of driving while intoxicated with a blood or breath alcohol content of 0.15 or higher. I sentence you to 1 year in the Bexar County Jail, probated for 1 year. Assess a $1,000 fine plus court costs, probating all the fine because you've already paid it to the VTC. 48 hours community service, probating all that based on your military service. DWI victim impact panic, which you get credit for because you've already done it. DWI education, which you get credit for because you've already done it. CSCD in intensive outpatient. Continue the scram device until further notice, and weekly report in UA until further notice. Val, you got any other suggestions?
No, Judge.
Mr. Maru, do you have any further suggestions on how we can help Mr. Doe?
No, Judge.
Paul, anything to add?
At this point, there's nothing to add.
I think that's pretty obvious.
Mr. Vasquez, Mr. Dew, because he's placed on regular probation, I will also be sending an application that needs to be filled out and the new data sheet as well. So I will be sending the consent for the Zoom hearing and then also the application and data sheet in a little bit.
Mr. Doe,
Okay.
I want to clarify for you something that Mr. Doe doesn't understand because he doesn't do this criminal justice system stuff every day. You very easily could have gone to jail for a year today, just on your cocaine hit alone. And I think Mr. Vasquez will clarify that for you. Because of your military service and because your attorney's done an excellent job mitigating all the little problems you've had along the way, we're going to give you one more shot. There won't be any more chances. This will be your last chance. If you violate again, the probability is I'm going to order that you go to inpatient drug alcohol rehab at the Bexar County Substance Abuse Treatment Facility for probably 180 days. So you'd be sleeping and eating over there for 180 days. So if a light beer from Miller comes by and attracts your eye, you know what's coming if you drink it. We understand, sir?
Yes, Judge.
All right. Today you win. The next time you probably will not. So best of luck. We want you to do good. If you have any problems, call your attorney. Your attorney will call either Mr. Maru or me, and we'll get it fixed. We want to give you all the chances in the world, but there'll be no more. Do you understand, sir?
Yes, Judge.
All right. Mr. Vasquez, anything further?
Your Honor, may he go tomorrow to probation? That'll give us time to fill out the forms that are needed.
Tomorrow morning,
Thank you.
will that work for you, Mr. Doe?
What time, Judge?
Report tomorrow morning to the Bexar County Probation Department at 9 a.m. Will that work for you?
9 a.m. Yes, Judge.
Okay. Valerie, is that the right time to send him over there? I don't want him sitting there all day.
They really aren't seeing too many people face to face, so 9 o'clock is fine. They do them every hour on the hour, except during lunch.
Okay. All right, good luck, Mr. Doe. Thank you.
Okay.
You know what,